The 1-2-1s. This is 16 WAPT News live at 5.
Bert Case still in the hospital battling infection as thousands of well wishes come in for the Mississippi legend.
Bert, I hope you see this, and we hope to have an interview with you real soon.
Plus, police safety, how one local department's doubling down to keep its officers safe. And indicted and headed to trial, the next step for the accused Mississippi ISIS recruits.
Lots of clouds today helped hold the temperature down because there's plenty of heat in my forecast for the evening. Not much rain out there. Most areas remain dry, but down in Smith County, a couple downpours there, and a little light rain off to our north. Find out what is in store for the rest of the weekend and the rest of the week coming up.
All right, David. New tonight, some good news for our own Bert Case. His fever down and his blood pressure getting better, Tammy.
That's right. I talked to Bert's wife today, Megan. She says those things are good news, but they still have a long way to go. Now, right now, he's still in critical condition using a respirator, but as 16 WAPT's Hadass Brown reports, Bert is the talk of the town.
Bert, I hope you see this, and we hope to have an interview with you real soon.
Well wishes pouring in.
Bert, get well, man. We need you. I mean, the world would be too empty without Bert Case in it.
Thousands of prayers for TV news icon Bert Case, while the 16 WAPT legend continues to battle sepsis, a dangerous blood infection, in the hospital.
Let's hear your best Bert Case impersonation.
16 WAPT's radio partners at Y101 spent the morning Wednesday letting their listeners call in to do Bert Case's famous sign-off.
Bert Case. Bert Case.
Strangely, they texted in too, yeah, which they spelled it out. Which, how did they, a bunch of U's and R's?
R's, yeah. He has those ways of finding those little stories that fall through the cracks and calling people on their stuff, and so we need him back out on the streets as soon as possible.
The Clarion Ledger also sending support for Bert across the state, giving him a front page spot in Wednesday's paper.
We compete, but we're a family. And so when you have somebody who's been around as long as Bert, he's not just, you know, that guy over at Channel 16. He's part of our family.
He's beat back pit bulls, angry governors, hurricanes. I mean, something stupid like sepsis can't slow him down.
Bert is a determined guy, and he's done such a remarkable job over the years, and this is not the end. He is going to come through this, we pray and hope.
All of Jackson praying for the one-of-a-kind journalist, Bert Case.
It's Bert Case.
In Jackson, Hadass Brown, 16 WAPT News.
Yeah, and our feedback lines have been blowing up with people calling in their well wishes for Bert. Here's some of them.
I just heard about Bert. I just wanted to know how much I love him on TV. Y'all pray for him. We gotta pray him out of this thing. Oh, I just don't know. I just heard it. Just my heart is just broken.
We're praying for him from Brookhaven, Mississippi, where he has covered the news on many occasions. Please let him know that we're thinking about him and praying about him.
Know that you guys are thinking about him out there. And people have been leaving comments for Bert on our Facebook page as well. Carla says, get well quickly, Bert. You're a television tradition. Yes, he is. Julia says, praying for you, Bert. I know you are a man of God. You are surrounded by his watchful and caring angels. Remember, we still want to hear from you. You can post your message for Bert on our 16 WAPT Facebook page and on our Twitter page, and we'll keep you updated on Bert's condition at WAPT.com. Well, Megan, one local police force says they're taking no chances with the rash of police shootings across the country.
Brandon, Tammy, 16 WAPT Scott Simmons joins us live where they're giving every piece of safety equipment an extra check.
You know, police are told to be vigilant at all times, but this recent rash of police shootings across the nation has prompted Brandon PD to not only remind their officers of their safety procedures and policies, but also to check their gear, too. The Brandon Police Chief telling me today that he has been checking to make sure all the officer body armor is up to date. 39 officers are on the police force here, and Chief William Thompson says he's been giving all of their gear a once-over to make sure everything is up to specs. A rash of shootings, he admits, has prompted a new era of caution, and that includes checking the bulletproof panels inside the vests officers wear.
Manufacturers, for the most part, will say a vest is good 5 years from date of manufacture. So, updating, making sure officers are wearing current vests that are within that five-year range.
It is not Brandon PD only being cautious. Numerous agencies across the state are talking about what's happened across the nation and how it might relate to their jurisdiction, including over the State Police Training Academy. Why a commander there says officers need to meet aggression with aggression. I'll tell you more about that at 6. Live in Brandon, Scott Simmons, 16 WAPT News.
Okay, Scott, thank you. A Jackson City councilman wants to send a message to anyone firing guns in his ward, whether they hit somebody or not. 16 WAPT's Allie Ware found out why Kenny Stokes believes they deserve the maximum punishment.
Monday afternoon, shots rang out on Meadow and Page Streets, sending those who live there in a panic.
Number gunshot, shotgun shots, pistol shots. They had about six of them little boys out there shooting.
2 people was walking up the street. All these are young people now. It's anywhere from 15 to 19. And they walking up the street and they in a car shooting at them. And while they shooting, they start running.
The shooters got away, and luckily no one was hurt. But Councilman Stokes says this senseless gun violence should come with a maximum punishment.
Even though they didn't kill anyone, even though they didn't shoot anyone, it's attempted murder. Anytime you have young people running for their lives, people hanging out cars, shooting guns at them, that's attempted murder.
Councilman Stokes says children were playing in this neighborhood at the time of the shooting, and the people that live here told him they're scared it could happen again and end much worse.
You know, our kids, they be trying to see what's going on. Yeah. You got to move them out the way.
God saved them that time, but who knows about the next time?
In Jackson, Allie Ware, 16 WAPT News.
Now, police are still looking for the shooters in this case. If you have any information, call Crime Stoppers. This is new tonight, a marker for a forgotten massacre, Tammy.
That's right. Clinton leaders are raising the marker to remember the 1875 race riot. 16 WAPT's Ross Adams is live in Old Town Clinton. Ross.
Right now we're at the intersection of Jefferson and Westlake, where a historical marker will be placed at this location early Friday morning, marking one of the darkest chapters in Clinton's history. Historians say it started in early September 1875 on a plantation near Old Town. Gunfire erupted at a political rally of black leaders, some 1,500 said to be in attendance. A number of black and white men died. That same night, a group of men, white men from Bolton and Raymond, hopped on trains and came to Clinton looking for revenge. They went door to door and killed almost 24 blacks. Some accounts say as many as 100 blacks were killed in the massacre. Experts say that those events emboldened whites who took control of state government after the Civil War, leaving blacks out of political power for nearly a century.
I think people will come away with a better understanding of Clinton's past. The things that they have seen in their lifetime take place and the things that have changed.
There is also a seminar tomorrow night as part of the commemoration at Mississippi College on race relations among the speakers, former Governor Winter and former state Supreme Court Justice and now federal judge James Graves. And as part of Friday's marker at this location, some of the descendants of some of the men who died in the massacre will be on hand for this historic event. Live in Clinton, Ross Adams, 16 WAPT News.
A lot of history out there. Thanks so much, Ross Adams, live for us. Well, residents in Goshen voted to keep the state flag last night. Lawmakers say a huge crowd turned out for the vote. The flag, which features the Confederate stars and bars, has been met with some controversy this year after a shooting inside of a Charleston, South Carolina church. The gunman in that case was often photographed with the Confederate flag. That prompted some areas to remove the flag from city-owned property.
I cannot tell you what it means to have to look at that flag and know what it stands for. It stands for hate. It stands for racism. It stands for fear. It stands for death.
Then what's next? Our American flag's next? They're already talking about that.
Well, the Goshen City Council says that the state voted to change the flag. They would go along with the change. Well, 2 Mississippians charged with attempting to join ISIS are headed to court October 26th. A grand jury indicted Jalen Young and Muhammad Dakala on 2 counts of aiding terrorists. Agents arrested the couple earlier this month as they tried to board a flight to Columbus. Authorities say the 2 confessed they were headed to the Middle East to join ISIS. Both Young and Dakala pleaded not guilty. They're in jail without bond right now. And Megan, you have the latest on the race for the White House.
Oh, a lot of buzz about a visit to Florida, Tammy, by Vice President Joe Biden. The visit driving speculation about his possible presidential bid. 16 WAPT's Sally Kidd live in our Washington newsroom with Commitment 2016. Sally.
Well, Megan, this visit by the vice president, of course, fueling that big question of whether this is just part of the vice president's regular VP duties, or is he laying the groundwork for a presidential bid? Vice President Joe Biden talking education in the prime battleground state of Florida.
We have got to let the secret out.
But the secret he's talking about is the strength of community colleges, not the question that's on everyone's mind. Will Biden make a bid for the Democratic nomination?
Look at all the press you've attracted. Their interest in community colleges impressed me greatly. And I hope that's what they're going to write about.
On the Republican side,
in many cases, I probably identify more as a Democrat.
The feud between Donald Trump and Jeb Bush continues to heat up. The attacks are flying on social media. And after Bush released this web video attacking Trump as a liberal,
I'm very pro-choice.
Trump fired back with a video showing Bush praising Hillary Clinton.
I want to say thank you to both Secretary Clinton and to President Clinton.
Some political observers say Bush's attack strategy is risky.
Rick Perry, Lindsey Graham, Rand Paul all have lost support when they went after Donald Trump. It's like a kamikaze mission that a lot of Republicans view this going after Trump as. I think it could be successful, but the person who's doing the attacking could actually lose as much support as Donald Trump does at the same time.
That was 16 WAPT's Sally Kidd reporting in Washington. Now, the latest polling on the GOP side shows Trump leading by 14 points, followed by Ben Carson and Jeb Bush. Meantime, Congressman Greg Harper came out in support of another Republican presidential candidate.
The most qualified person, I believe, is Ohio Governor John Kasich, who was reelected last year overwhelmingly in Ohio. We can't win without Ohio. And also keep in mind, the last time this country had a balanced budget, John Kasich was the chairman of the House Budget Committee. He gets it.
Kasich also getting support from former Senator Trent Lott. He is a national co-chairman of Kasich's campaign. Property taxes in Ridgeland will not be going up this year. The city's Board of Aldermen voted down a 1 millage tax increase last night. City leaders say they're focused on finding revenue for the city elsewhere.
In this particular economy, with the growing cost of goods and services, it's very difficult to continue to meet the level of services that your citizens want, but we just got to roll up our sleeves and be sure we try to do the best we can.
The city of Ridgeland has not yet offered up another proposal to raise money. Well, it's been a while since I've said this. David Hartman, tell me about the weather.
Well, you came back, and I was still on vacation, but it's good to be back.
Yeah.
We have a regular schedule now.
We sure do. Back
I got a lot of vacation time coming up, but I'll be here for a while.
It's good to see you.
Use it or lose it.
That's
good
right.
to see you, too. Hey, the Atlantic Basin is quiet. Fred's out there, absolutely no threat to the United States. This will fizzle in the next 20 hours or so. And, you know, the Atlantic Basin is still covered in dry air. Here it is, heading to the peak of the hurricane season, and there is nothing to worry about at this time. Boy, I'll tell you what, it's a different story in the Pacific. 3 storms, and for the first time ever, a few days ago, we had 3 Category 4 hurricanes in the Pacific Basin. So it remains very active there, and of course, because of El Nino, the water is extremely warm in the Pacific. That's where all the action is. All right, our forecast into the big holiday weekend is coming up.
Cop killer manhunt. The search for the men that gunned down an Illinois officer. And it was not a bird or a plane that scared residents in southern Florida. I'll tell you what lit up the night sky there. You're watching 16 WAPT News live at 5.